Everybody, welcome back. So, Dark Life, jumping back in, things were really intense. The settlers had all gathered in the saloon. They had shot Shade with tranquilizer darts, and he was getting kind of woozy. And then the last thing was that Lars was coming towards him with a rope that had a noose at the end of it. Remember, a noose is like the hangman's knot. Here we go. Chapter 27. You trying to silence me, Doc? Shade snarled from where he lay. His words sent Gemma scampering out from under the catwalk to see what was happening up above. Afraid these good folk will tell. Hold on, rewind. Afraid I'll tell these good folk about how you tested your theories on a bunch of kids? Juvenile delinquents with criminal records, Doc retorted, nodding to Lars, who threw the rope to Raj. Shade rose to his knees, though his hands were tied behind his back. Orphans, all wards of the wealth. His skin rippled, turning blood red. Got to experiment on us all you wanted. No one to interfere. Shut up. Doc gestured impatiently, and Raj sent one end of the rope sailing into the air, where it looped over a steel crossbeam that ran underneath the second catwalk. I tore up the stair ladder, shouting, "You can't do this!" even though the ever persistent pain in my ribs was a sharp reminder of what Shade was capable of. When Raj played out more rope, the noose dropped into view. No! Gemma raced up the stairs to the first catwalk. I hovered by the second stair ladder. If Pa were here, he would stop this. But he wasn't, and there was no time to run and fetch him from the dining hall. Gibby, Lars yelled, get her out of here. My heart lurched as Gemma tried to pry Lars's fingers from the railing so that she could get past him. He's my brother, she argued. They were 20 feet over the saloon floor, yet she struggled so fiercely that if Lars were to suddenly move aside, she would fall. Clamping his spotlight to a strut, Gibby edged closer. Maybe this isn't such a good idea. Are you forgetting about that bloody sub? Lars asked. That was his blood. I stepped forward. He didn't kill anyone. Behind Shade, Raj tied the end of the rope to the steel beam that edged the floor of the catwalk. We could call the Rangers, Gibby suggested in a hollow voice. Let them take him back. So he can come back again? Doc's knuckles whitened as he gripped the rail. I told you, no jail cell can hold him. No prison. You give me too much credit, Shade drawled. Just because I busted out of your house of horrors, that don't mean much. You ain't busting out of this. Raj dropped the noose over Shade's head. Gemma's anguished cry sparked Gibby to life. He came up behind her, spinner to face him. Before she recovered from her surprise, he muttered, Sorry about this, and hoisted her over his shoulder like she was the catch of the day. Quickly, he mounted the second stair ladder with Gemma hollering and pounding on his back. I positioned myself at the bottom of the stairs in case he dropped her. Upon getting an upside-down view of the saloon floor 50 feet below, Gemma's fists froze mid-pummel. Ty, stop them! She reached back towards Gibby's shoulder. Her hand flashed forward as she dropped something at me. I stepped back and let it clatter to the mesh floor. Her jade knife. My legs felt like they might fold under me as I picked up her knife. Stop them with a knife? Right. Even if I could, did I really want to? With Shade gone, Benthic territory would have a chance. Ma and Pa would keep the homestead. All I had to do was nothing. Above me, Gibby disappeared with her into the elevator and the doors slid shut. Now that the structure was no longer swaying, Raj climbed onto the railing. With one arm around a vertical strut, he caught the noose and drew it in. The thin rail buckled under his weight, cracked where it was soldered to the beam. Then it snapped. Raj jumped back to the catwalk just in time. Even though Lars had a HAR pistol aimed at his temple, Shade shook his head as if to clear it. He was collapsing from the tranquilizer that had been shot into him, but they were going to hang him anyway, right now, without a judge or a jury. Raj kicked the other end of the railing. After 3 attempts, the rail broke and clattered to the floor far below. One jagged piece remained, sticking out from the strut like an axe head. Horrified, I surged forward, but Doc gripped my arm. "We're doing this for the good of the territory, Ty, to keep it going. You want your own homestead, right?" I did, but not like this. Raj circled behind Shade and he lifted his boot. The reality of it collapsed on me. He was going to kick Shade off. In the split second that his boot swung back, I jerked out of Doc's hold and sprang between Shade and the edge of the catwalk. "Ty, move!" Raj bellowed. If he kicked Shade, he'd send me plummeting to the saloon floor below. "You don't know what he's capable of," Doc growled. "No," I agreed, "but I can see what you are capable of." When Shade edged back to give me another inch of room, I saw that under his heavy lids, the outlaw's eyes were bright. The tranquilizer had not affected him nearly as much as he was pretending. Above us, the elevator doors slid open. It was all the distraction I needed. As the men glanced up through the grill, I raised the jade knife. "Kneel!" I hissed. Instantly, Shade fell to his knees, tightening the rope that ran from his neck to the girder. I slashed at it while trying to keep my balance as boots pounded 2 catwalks up, making the whole structure jump. Finally, I sawed, acutely aware of the drop behind me. Finally, the knife broke through the last strand of rope and Shade sprang to his feet. I spun, only to find myself looking down the barrel of a spear gun. Ooh, it's getting super intense. Check back in tomorrow and find out what happens. I'll see you guys later. Be safe, be healthy, be kind to one another.